2026 meeting of the Beacon City School District Board of Education. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for Karen Dittenhofer. She passed away last week. She was a teacher's aide at South Avenue, or an aide at South Avenue, and she had worked for the district for 19 years. Thank you. Vicki, can you call the roll? Here. Oh, she is excused.
Mr. Lewine?
Here.
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 Here. Here. Matt, can you review the fire exits?
Exits are in the back of the LGI.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to adjourn to executive session to review the employment history of a particular individual? The board plans to return in about 30 minutes.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 6-0. We'll be back. We're starting with open to the public. Does anyone have a public comment they would like to make? Seeing no one, we will move on to our first workshop, which is our presentation on Roundabout Middle School from Principal Soltish. Come on down.
Oh, those are yours. I won't read them. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. I'd like to start by introducing my two assistant principals. Amanda and Marissa are both here. They have been working very diligently on this presentation, as they are much, much better with the technology than I am, so I thank them greatly for all the time and effort they put into the presentation. So first up, we want to just talk about academic excellence, just to give you an idea at our enrollment numbers for some of our advanced classes. Our Regents Bio is 55 students, Algebra 1, 55 students. We opened a second section of advanced art this year, so we now have 27 students in that. I know that might seem a little low with the 27, but those class sizes are typically more in the teens. We're really excited to have a second section because we've been able to accommodate all requests for students that have submitted for portfolios that have been up to the expectation of the class. We were in danger of not being able to do that this year, and we were able to get a second section, and we're very pleased with how that's going. And then for the high school language credit, we had 195 students enrolled in our program last year between Spanish and Italian. 179 of them received their high school credit by the end of the program. So that's last year for the language credit. Those are the current ninth graders at BHS. Honor roll. So honor roll is typically something at Roundabout Middle School that you'll see a lot of students on. I'm not breaking it down by the different levels of honor roll, just all students who are on honor roll. So this will show you quarter 1, 2, 3 for last year and the honors tee, and then the first quarter this year. But typically our honor roll is above 50% in every grade level. Our honors tee last year, and for the honors tee, those are students that maintain that honor roll status for all 3 quarters of the first marking period in any capacity. So we were at 60% for 6th grade, 49% for 7th grade, and 43% for 8th grade. So we're really proud of the number of students that are able to maintain it for the whole school year. And we are off to a really good start in quarter 1 this year. In terms of state testing, we have the 24-25 ELA and math state testing. We do realize that we fall below the state average in those categories. So if you look at that, you will notice that we are below. We have improved in ELA over the past years, but math is an area that we are looking to improve in. We do want to also improve in ELA, don't get me wrong, but we've seen some growth in ELA over the past 2 years. Math is an area where we really want to focus some time and effort to try to get those numbers up. When you look at the math slide, ignore the combined 6 and combined 7. It's the way it shows up on the report card. Not really sure what they're combining 6 and 7 with, because 6 and 7 just have the state test. But in 8th grade, you will notice it looks like there's only 7%. The reason that you're seeing that low number there is because we do not have our Regents students sit for the state test in math. Other districts do. It is a local decision. My personal belief is if they're in the advanced math class and they're taking the Regents already, it seems like a lot to ask them to also take the state test in math. So when you look at combined 8, that does give a more accurate representation of what it would look like if all of our students were taking the 8th grade math assessment, because those Regents kids would have been in the 8th grade number, which they're currently not. So all of our 8th grade math students did pass the Regents, and when you look at the combined 8, you would see more of a 49% proficiency rate between the Regents students and the remaining students who did take the state test. One of the areas with the state test that we are very concerned about is our participation rate. So on the next slide, we have our ELA state test participation rates. I mean, we should really be up in the 90s for participation rate, so that when we're looking at our data, it's accurately reflecting the students. For a while at Rombau, it has been, an area where students will just opt out or refuse. But we've had a lot of talks this year. We've talked closely with the district about trying to put different things in place. The state test is a mandatory test. When it was linked to teacher ratings, we had a lot of students opt out, and it seems like that trend just hasn't gone back yet. So like kids would come in with notes. I mean, we're getting notes morning of the test, and we just have to take those kids and we put them in a non-testing room. So we have talked about changing that process for this year and requiring students to test and not just to be able to come in with a note to not test. So these are our ELA numbers, which you'll notice, nothing's over 80%. So we have a ways to go to get that up. And in terms of math, you're gonna notice the same thing. There's years, we'll look at our numbers and we'll go, wow, why is that number lower or higher in 6th grade between math and ELA? The reason is, if the ELA test was first and the math test was second, and kids realized some of their friends refused the test, then when then it was time for math, kids just didn't take it because there were other kids not taking it, and so they just come in with a note. We do have.
Brian, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
But we had talked about really sending information home to parents about how the test is no longer associated with the teacher ratings, and was that done last year, or?
No, it's not like we wanted to, and that's partly on the district side of things.
So, because I do
Me.
feel like that, and then when you have all the parents in the room just saying, I think it's something that's going to need repeating for sure.
Yeah, we were just going to send something really simple from me that just says it's not, you can't write a note. If you want, if you really want to explore this, you need to meet with Brian or Saggy, some version of that, because I do think it's really more about peers than it is parents, even at this point. Our elementary participation rates are in the high 80s, low 90s now, if not even higher. So it's not really like it's not like a community thing anymore. It's more like a middle school peers thing. So we're just gonna end it basically. Like if you want to discuss testing with us or something, like we'll meet with you to talk about it. But and I think that it made a lot of sense for us to do that from the district level, and we didn't do that like I wanted to last year. So this will be the year.
If anybody looks at a number, just so you're aware, where you see our participation rate looks different in 8th grade, you see it on a report card, it doesn't look like the 58% we're advertising. We adjusted our numbers because the Regions kids were not required on our end to take it, so we kind of removed them from the number. So if you see something and you wonder why our number looks a little different, we adjusted and removed the 55 algebra students out of the population before we put that number there, okay? Then we go to science, and in science, we've actually had some better results on our state test. I'm not going to say our participation is where we want it to be there either, but if you look at between the regions and the grade 8 science, which is only 6% off of the state percentage, we are actually above the state average for the combined regions and grade 8 test. So I still would like to see all of our students taking the 8th grade science test because it would give me a more accurate look at where we are. We do have a number of students that also opt out of the science test.
Can I ask a
Yeah, sure.
potentially very
Yeah.
dumb question? So on here, the first two numbers, you've got school and district, and those are always going to be the same, right? Because there's only one middle school in the district.
Right.
So instead of that, is it possible, and I don't know if this is measured in any real way, to measure it against the national average for these kind of state tests? I know not every state does this, tests like this, but is that even a viable?
State average, you mean?
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Well, we have the state
No,
average.
not the state
She's-
average, but like how, like where we fall within the 50 states for this kind of testing at this grade level. Is that not possible?
They don't,
For science,
Not for
not
science.
for science, there is a national way that we can look, and it would have to be with the state, New York State volunteers with information. And New York State has not volunteered that information for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
That information has not been available for the last 2 years. I know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah,
It's a national, yes, and that's for 4th and 8th grade.
okay, okay.
Yes. So that data is actually 2 years behind, and New
Okay.
York State has not offered that information for the last 2 years.
So currently, there's no way to compare. Okay, thank you.
So if you look at our participation rate in 8th grade science, it is low. So when you see like 24, 25, the 63 out of 135, again, we're pulling the Regions kids out of that number. So they're not in there anymore because they're all taking the Regions. Of the students eligible to take the 8th grade science test, we only got about 47% of them to take it last year, which is, not, we want to see the kids all taking it. But again, this test now comes third. So you had ELA, math, and then science. So if they didn't refuse at least one of the first two and they find out their friends didn't take it, it just grows by the time you get to science.
And we're not doing any benchmarking with our own programs on these, like for science, we don't have that ability.
We don't have an eye ready for science.
Right, in the way that we do for reading and for.
And math.
Correct. The only thing that we have the 5th grade scores from when they're in 5th grade, but that's all we have in terms of the science. The next thing up is just some of the academic support. So earlier we talked about some of the advanced classes that we're offering, but it's also important to talk about our AIS math and AIS literacy, just because those are the areas where we're looking to support some of our students who may be struggling. We have our 24-25 numbers and our 25-26 numbers in grades 6, 7, and 8. For both of those, you're looking at groups of usually somewhere between 20 to 40, 50 students per area, per grade level. Any questions just on the AIS?
Why are there fewer? Does this mean there are fewer kids getting support this year than last year, or how?
I mean, It's also, I mean, kids can still go into AIS, right? So these numbers were what we had ended the year with. So you can still see students go into AIS math and ELA as the year is going on. So those numbers could increase. I mean, we're looking at it early on, but for a variety of reasons, they could end up in those classes before the year is out.
So that means in only 12 students from the elementary schools were recommended for AIS?
Either recommended or are currently in it. I mean, sometimes when they go up, the parents don't want them in it because they don't want them to miss the elective. So we get some of those conversations where they want them to be able to take everything. So if you're taking everything we offer, there's no room for AIS literacy and AIS math in your schedule. If you take AIS math and AIS literacy, you are going to give up one of your mandated electives other than PE. So you're either looking at art, music, or technology. For some kids, it's both if they're in the math and the literacy. So it can be a tough sell for some of the parents. I mean, the numbers are down this year, but last year they were a little bit higher. Ready, man?
I'm ready.
I'm gonna let Amanda speak for a minute about some of our stuff.
I'm missing a slide. Yeah. There it is. All right, a little out of order. It's fine. So I want to talk a little bit about the MTSSI program. So the New York State Education Department offers guidelines to help students, to help schools with ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act. We have a team that meets every Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's the students, teachers, the school psychologist, sometimes the social worker, the student's guidance counselor, a volunteer teacher. I have one for Tuesday, one for Thursday, and then myself, administration. And basically, students go through different tiers. So the tier 1 is universal. It's offered for all students. It's based on best practices in the classroom. So this is something where it might be repeat of lesson, or they might need reteaching of a certain item. So these are things that are offered to all the students, no matter their academic profile. Sometimes, as we know, we saw with AIS, students need more targeted instruction. And with that targeted instruction, the teachers might fill out a referral that say, hey, I want to bring this student up for MTSSI. It also used to be known as RTI. That might sound a little bit more familiar. New York State has changed the letters multiple times. So we're on MTSSI. It's multi-tiered support system integrated for academic, behavior, and SEL. So the teachers will fill out a referral packet. In this referral packet, they'll talk about the strengths of the student, what they're really good at, some of the tier 1 stuff, the best practice stuff that they did in the classroom, but they're still struggling with the student. The student is still, they're struggling in certain parts of math or in ELA. It might be a motivational factor. So there's different things that they're bringing to the table that they fill it out for. And then as a team, we kind of go through what is the student's strengths, what are the things you've already done, and then we come up with interventions that would work for the student. The teachers decide what the interventions are. So we discuss some of the interventions that are out there. It might be front-loading vocabulary. It might be smaller group sizes. It might be more PPS support, so more guidance support or school psychologist support, depending on which category it falls under. And then we reconvene in 6 to 8 weeks. So the teachers would take that intervention. They would collect data on the student. It's not an everyday thing. It's something where they might once or twice a week. Usually AIS teachers are really great with it because they have the smaller class sizes, collect the data on them, and then we meet in 6 to 8 weeks. Hey, did these interventions work? Did they not work? And then we cycle through and say we either come up with new interventions or, you know what, these interventions are working for them. We're going to create these building supports. We're going to kind of push them back into tier 1 and cycle them out. 6 to 8 weeks, it didn't work. We're going to come up with some new interventions, try again. Meet on that child again. If it's still not working, we might move to tier 3, which is the specially designed instruction, which is more individualized support. Could be assisted technology, direct counseling, again, depending on what it falls under. There are times where we do get parent requests for MTSSI. Could be for social emotional support. They notice academically they're struggling. It could be something for they want a 504.
it's important when parents are requesting 504s for some sort of medical struggle that the students are having, that we have this in place because we need to know what strategies are working for the student and to make sure that they're having access to their education, that that medical is not taking away from that. Any questions on the process before I go over some of the numbers?
I actually have one real quick. I'm curious to know how the parents of students know how engaged they are in this program. In other
Yep.
words, like if you, like you said, parents will come to you, but if they don't,
So
What-
I reach
how
out
does
to the
that
parents after
communication-
our meetings, and we just say, hey, your child's ELA teacher was having some concern because they seem to really be struggling in comprehending some of the nonfiction text that's going on. These are some of the strengths that they talked about that your child has, and here's something that they're gonna try over the next 6 to 8 weeks, and then I'll follow up with them. That's a great question. It's on my notes, I didn't mention it. So last year, just to kind of give you a whole picture, and then I'll talk a little bit about this year. So at the beginning of the year, we had 4 students from the prior year that we carried over. Just because the year ends does not necessarily mean that the student is, no longer needing those supports. So we carry over 4 students from the previous year. We had 8 teachers fill out the referral packets. We had 11 parent requests. So we had 23 total in our MTSSI program last year. 14 of them cycled out. It means that they found supports within that tier 2 and tier 3 that really worked for them, and we created the building supports for them, and they kind of cycled out. 2 of the students received 504s. 6 students were carried over to the next year, and we did end up having 1 student needing a special education referral. And then this year, beginning of the year, we had 2 that carried over. Some of the other numbers that didn't necessarily carry it over, they came to the high school. Teacher requests, there were 4, parent requests, 3 so far. So we have 9 currently in our system. We haven't cycled anybody out. Nobody's gotten a 504. We're still kind of in the beginning process of it, but we do have 1 special education referral. It is a student that's obviously been carried over from last year, not somebody that we just received a referral for.
So that's a lot less.
Because we're still kind of in the beginning of the year, a lot of times, what I noticed the pattern at Rombout is that the teachers will have them for the first quarter, kind of get the feel for them, and then they're like, you know what, I'm noticing that this is happening now, and it wasn't like this in the beginning of the year, or they're coming up to new content and they're struggling in that particular content because can be not necessarily skills, it's skills-based, a lot of it. So if they did really well at something and now word problems they might be struggling in, now they're going to refer them to it because they tried all of these things, but you know what, I need help, I need to know what other interventions that I can apply to help this student.
I just really want to thank Amanda for taking that on. Every Tuesday and Thursday when she's doing that, we didn't have a lot of buy-in ahead of her doing that. We'd have meetings where there were always people missing, and we're trying to get a random teacher to come. So she's really created a committee that is focused in on the needs of the students, and she gets it all done on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that people aren't missing their classes. So while all the students are coming in, she is full speed ahead, having meetings and trying to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students before the day even starts. So I really appreciate everything you're doing there.
Is this just the second year that this system is in place, or was this already?
This is year,
So this is my 4th
Right.
year at Rombout. I know they had it before. I have a lot of experience in what was previously RTI in my former district. I used to do it in my building there, and I ran it there. So I took a lot of the components there that I felt that we didn't have quite at Rombout and filled it in, and it seems to be filling in some of those gaps for some of the teachers to get more buy-in for the program.
Yeah, you're getting a lot done in 40 minutes a week.
So next up, we have community engagement and involvement. Our Monday message, which Ms. Benson has taken over. How many viewers have we been getting most of the time?
Over 1,000 every time.
So over 1,000 people are looking at that, which is really great for us. It means that the information that's going in there is being seen and shared. and it gives parents a look in at the building and also keeps them up to date on what's happening. We obviously have our Instagram. We had a really nice turnout for our caregiver conferences. We're continuing with the Elks Club, who support us by doing Student of the Month. It's a really, really nice ceremony. It's very personal. We used to do it in our big assemblies that we had in the mornings. We don't have those anymore, so we invite the families in for the students who are being honored, and we do it in the library. It's very small. We find that the kids who are being honored seem to like it because some kids don't like to be recognized in front of all their peers in a big crowd. So it's very small. It's nice. And we just thank the Elks Club for continuing to support the students at Rombout with that. Our National Junior Honor Society this year did a food drive, and this year they donated the food to St. Andrew's Food Pantry. St. Andrew's is a spot that I have a very close person, Mrs. Lassiter. I was best friends with her son growing up, and so I spent many, many nights at Mrs. Lassiter's house. And she sent us a thank you letter from the food pantry. They had no idea what they were getting when somebody called and said, we'd like to donate the food to you guys. And she said, all of a sudden they showed up, and she said the generosity just overwhelmed them, and it was so appreciative to have it stay in the community for them to assist people. We collected over 400 items that were able to go to their food pantry, and everyone that donated, everything we had was in date. Nobody was donating expired items and different things. So she said that she's never seen a donation where everything that was actually donated was something they could use and give to the community. So they sent us a really nice letter thanking the school for our participation. And, that's what we'll look to do in the future to keep it in the community. We were also involved with the toy drive. We have a Black History Month assembly that I've been working on. It's called the Blues and Beyond, and it's going to be on February 18th. So we're putting together a program with this company. It's basically almost like a musical group that will come in, and they're going to go through the history with almost like a concert for the students. So we are having 4 daytime assemblies with the support of the district. So we're going to get a high school performance, a middle school performance, 2 performances for the elementary schools. I believe we're going to target grades 3 through 5 on that. But please don't quote me. And then there's going to be a community show that evening. I am anticipating it will be at 6:30. But I have seen what they do. I've been in touch with them. The assemblies are something that we haven't had before with the musical component they bring. I'm really looking forward to it. They do 4 different options or chapters, they call them, and we haven't selected what we're going to do yet, but we'll be working closely with them as we get close to that date. It's new. We're excited about it. I hope that as we get there, the community comes out and takes advantage of the opportunity. Next up, we had no drama club production last year, but we are back this year. So we had 2 teachers, Miss Gonzalez and Miss Sims, both 6th grade teachers, step up with an interest in running it, and they are up and running. They are going to do Dare to Dream. We are doing it, is it March?
March.
The performance will be in March, which is fine. We're going to have a show, and we're really excited to see how they do there. I am now going to step out of the way for a second for Miss Benson.
So naturally leaving the science room, I was like, I have to do something science related for the whole school. I've always wanted to have a science fair at Rombout. It's hard when you're in the teacher role, as many of you may know. So now that I'm in this role, I figured it was a good time to put on our first annual STEAM fair. It's going to be on March 19th. The past few years, I've partnered with Katie Biordi at Sargent, so I got my feet wet a little bit with kind of what works, what doesn't. The plan is, it is optional for students to do. They're working on it outside of school. We're going to try and offer some in-school workshop times for kids that maybe need more support with more of the process. And I know some of their teachers are offering it as extra credit, so they're also going to be giving them like extra help time to work on it. we figure a STEAM fair kind of opens it up for kids too. Like a lot of them aren't into doing like a specific science experiment project. So incorporating technology, engineering, math, the arts, it gets a lot of kids really excited to get involved. So during the school day, projects will be set up in the library and classes can come down, students can come down during lunch to check them out. Then we'll have students that did participate present to a panel of judges, which will probably be some of my science and technology teachers. We'll pick 2 winners per grade level. We did put a prize on the line, some $50 gift cards to get the middle schoolers a little more engaged. They love a good prize. And then at night, we're gonna have like an opening for family members, community members from 6 to 7, anyone that wants to stop by, whether your child or someone you know participated or not, it'll be open to the public to come check it out. So I'm excited to get that started. Kids have been given the applications and teachers have been working with them to get them started on it. So I'm excited for that on March 19th.
That's cool.
Experiences and opportunities. We have our 8th grade trip to DC, our 7th grade trip to Boston. Those are both reaching the end of their enrollment process. We're going to get close to rooming and going. We are working through our scholarship students as well right now. I'd like to thank the Roundhouse in Beacon for supporting us again. They donate $5,000 to our DC Scholarship Fund and $2,500 to our Boston Scholarship Fund. It's really generous and kind of them to give back to the community, and it's a huge help when I'm planning this trip with students. So thank you very much to them, and we look forward to those trips and great experiences. I could go on all day about those, but I won't. If you ever want to talk to me, I'd be happy to share my love for the opportunities that are presented on the trip to DC and Boston with you. 6th grade is going to go to Balance Adventures again this year, and that's a ropes course, which is a neat experience for them. We had our 7th and 8th grade Six Flags trip. We had our 6th grade, our 7th and 8th grade band went to the elementary schools to perform, which is a nice little thing for the elementary students to see as they're coming into school. Thank you to the transportation department, because I know it's hard for us to get a bus while they're still trying to drive the elementary students in, but they made it happen. 8th grade chorus went to Radio City again this year. Our E&L class got a trip to Fishkill Farms for apple picking. Our PE departments ran the hiking, swimming trips. They also have done their bowling trips, and we're looking forward to the Blues and Beyond, which I talked about earlier. I could talk about these all day. Does anybody have any field trip based questions for DC or Boston? Okay. Extracurricular activities, they're all listed there with some nice pictures, very nice job. But our fall modified sports enrollment was 128 students, and our fall club enrollment, we had 369 students involved in different clubs and activities. So thank you for your support in allowing us to have all different clubs and activities. 2 of our clubs that were not up and running right away in the fall were the Chess Club and the Kaleidoscope Club, but they have been advertised now in the school, and we're looking to see if students are taking advantage of those next. That's you.
So for those who don't know, the 4 elementary schools have rolled out the Positivity Project at this point across all grade levels, all 4 schools. It's been really successful. They've been pushing for us to get it into the middle school to some capacity. So we were excited this year to get the support to implement it in 6th grade ELA. You can see in yellow, there's all the positive feedback. 2 of them are student quotes, 2 of them are teacher quotes. I'm not gonna read them to you, but overall the feedback has been really positive. The Positivity Project is really just about character traits and honestly figuring out yourself as you navigate middle school is a crazy time. So I think that it was a great idea to incorporate it with the 6th graders. So every teacher's kind of doing it a little different right now as we're piloting it. Some of them are doing it once a week for like a 30-minute block. And they kind of hit all 5 days, and others are breaking it up. They do it once a week for 5 to 10 minutes, and they kind of have a specific set time for it in the classroom. The kids are really receptive to it now that they've done it at an elementary school. It wasn't something that was brand new, that was kind of like pulling teeth to get into. They're really, it's kind of just effortlessly flowed into the middle school. And the character strengths survey that they do at the beginning, which is what that computer picture is really well liked by the kids. They basically do a questionnaire and it tells them which character traits are strengths of theirs, which are weaknesses, and then at the end of the school year, they're going to revisit it and see if those traits carried through all of middle school, or considering how much they changed throughout their time there, what's kind of changed about them at the end of 6th grade. So we're really thankful that the ELA teachers were willing to take this on this year. It was kind of short notice, and we know that their schedules are jam-packed, but they've really found a way to implement it into their curriculum, and we're thankful for that. And the kids are really receptive to it, so we hope to continue it.
Some of the professional development that we have going on in the building for our staff, we have building thinking classrooms, which has been happening inside our math classrooms. And you can see from the pictures, a lot of that is about the students standing at stations and working in the standing position. And the teachers have been really receptive to it, and they feel like it really, they've noticed a difference in the students more engaged when they're up and in standing at the board doing things. So we've had that going on. We've also had, thank you to Heather, we've had GNR Inclusive Group happening at Rombout. So they've gone 6th and 7th grade over the last 2 years, working with our co-taught classrooms, with our teachers, on station teaching, lesson planning. So that has also been going on. Then I think it was the best PD that was possible, so I'd really like to thank anybody here that made it possible. John Antonetti came to us in the November PD day, and Rombout got to stay at Rombout, and he truly is an amazing presenter. His message resonated really, really well with our teachers. We are looking forward to future PD with him, but we had, very rarely do you have a PD and then you have teachers right after the PD going right in on the strategies that the presenter showed and working in their classroom on them. But he showed some strategies to them that we've had several teachers explore in their classrooms and are looking forward. So we actually have a video that Mr. Joyce put together of his class doing the different strategies. The slow reveal happens to be like the one that the teachers just fell in love with at the conference, at the training. And he showed it to them in a way that they realized right away they can make this happen in their classroom. So we're gonna show you a video from Mr. Joyce. And thank you, Mr. Joyce, if you watch this at any point in time. The time and effort that went through for him to create this video, just to share with you what it looks like inside an actual classroom. I can't tell you how many hours he spent doing it. We just got it today from him, and it's truly, I thank him a lot for doing it.
On your poster, one noticing, or one prediction, one guess, one thought. All right, guys, give you one notice, one wonder, one prediction. I'm looking at here. Can you describe in more detail about that? Is there like one that more less? All right, let's go around here. You guys notice which we're predicting, which we're thinking about so far. I get where I started last time I read this. Scarlett, give you break. She's noticing that the highest, there's a big gap. Big gap between the last, you're assuming like this one and then. How far can you feel over the top? You notice doing something about this. Knowing that we can get it over one month. Or shall go into 4, 5, 6,
The blue one would be like.
So let's put the language that says it's on offer. We're working on that. I keep going. Go ahead.
The years of the car are going to be used over time.
Say that loud. Say it again.
This is why it's called the slow reveal.
Alright, you guys want first reveal? You want first? You go right there. Can you meet people through family? Yes. Can you meet people at work? Yes. At the bar? Yes. Grade school? Yes. Neighbors? Yes. College? Yes. Wait. Is there anything that no longer is based on this now? Okay. 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 Right. Next. Reveal. Is there anything we can immediately write down that everybody see the reveal? Anything that makes sense? You present that in the exact one. No, I don't think they do. We're not talking about ours. Electronic usage? Absolutely, this makes sense. Do you use something? How long was it on our Xbox? I could be voting results. So, anyone think it has to stay up there? Is this going to be any? Maybe music? Wait, I thought like commute hours? 16 hours. So I would be in the yellow. Okay, still available. Phone? Easy brain. Yes? Explain. Okay, so easy usage. I'm going to say that here. Right? PC. That's what I got for us. We got 1 minute, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 22 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours. How long? How long? Definitely how long? Something. We're thinking, what else? Sleep. Now, let's think about that. You guys know about that. Right. It started in the 1980s and went way up. It did not exist in 1950. What are all of those called? It's there. What is that called? I didn't get that. Get into a relationship anyway, and read the online and just taking over everything. We're not done with it. Go ahead.
So hopefully you enjoyed that, but it was really nice to be able to look at a classroom. And that's him doing 3 different lessons, merging them all for this video. So that's not a teacher who's tried it once just to give us a video. He's using it regularly inside of his classroom, as well as a number of other teachers. And so we really appreciate the opportunity that we were presented for that PD. And our teachers are looking forward to any additional opportunities to work with Mr. Antonetti. He's talked about helping them with their lesson plan, to set one up, to actually present one with them inside of their classroom, to just observe their classroom. So for a lot of the teachers, they are just waiting for us to say when they might get another opportunity to meet with him in a smaller setting to work more on their curriculum and how they can make it happen in their classroom. RMS Vision and Growth, just a couple of things that I would love to see. I would really love to see us create a woodshop course as a tech ed elective for our grade 8 students. I feel like it's something that all students could use, and we haven't had it in forever, but I feel like when they get out of high school, they should have had some hands-on experience to be ready for the real world, and that's something that I would love to look into trying to create at Rombout Middle School. We've also discussed a lot about the transition to a 9-period school day. That is something that would alleviate some of the issues where students that take AIS or support classes have to give up their mandated electives. So it does pull them in those areas. I do also recognize there are obstacles to a 9-period day, so I don't want to just say, yes, it's so easy to do, but there are definitely pluses to doing that. We've been looking at adding an agility course with climbing apparatus in the recess area. So that is something that we have proposals for, and we're hopeful within the next year that might become something that joins the Rombout Middle School recess area. And it would look a little different than what we have right now. So we might have to move some of the hoops around. But an agility course, I think at our age group would be something that the kids would use a lot, as opposed to like a traditional playground. So there's some really neat designs that we've been looking at. And then I think inside the building, we could really use an increase in the number of single-use student restrooms. We, as time is evolving, that is where the students are at a comfort level. Students like that opportunity to use the single-use restroom, and we need to find ways to create more of them throughout the building so that it's easier for students to get from where they are in class to those types of bathrooms and then get back to class. Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
questions?
This was very thorough. I appreciate it. I was also really interested in seeing the application of the professional development in the classroom. That was super interesting to see. Did anybody have any specific questions?
So I know you talked about the decrease in classroom or the participation on the state results and ways of addressing that, which I have an idea that I'll talk to you afterwards that Arlington did, but
Nice.
and it worked. But it would dealing with iReady. Based on the state results, are there any initiatives like taking place like with the ELA department, math department, science department, to like looking at areas that students are deficient in, may need assistance with? Like, are there certain things that those departments may be working on to attempt to close that gap?
Yeah. So ELA, they have been working closely, and I thank Saggy for her work with our ELA department. Over the last, 2 to 3 years, she's really put a lot of time and effort into getting different books in the classroom and working with them on strategies. And we have seen those numbers start to rise. Math, what we're looking at this year, I've talked with Dr. Landau, we're looking to do some work ahead of the state test, offering almost like a before school class. We're going to try to target our students that we feel like are in that at-risk zone. And we're looking at targeting like an AM class where they could still take the high school bus in. So we'd have transportation if they're a bus student. They'd come in. We're looking at running somewhere between like 12 and 16. It's almost like 4 weeks worth of classes where they could go Monday through Thursday to work on the skills in the background. For students that the morning isn't something that they can do, we were going to look to do like an online evening session as well, where they could log on for either work with the skills or just even if it's working on their homework with one of our teachers on that could help them answer questions. So those are just two like the short term with the math, but the math is also working through the professional development that they just started recently with Duchess Bosse's, which is the station teaching in the standing position. So that is ongoing professional development that we're doing with the math teachers through Bosse's.
Yeah, I know the 9-period day adds time or adds money, but that would be another thing if we had that besides the IAS, is that ability for the teachers to have some time, possibly during the school day, with a grade level lunch, that they'd be able to collaborate and work together on strategies and different things that, identifying areas that students are struggling in because, all the schools are attempting to find that, the golden ticket. But that is another big advantage because right now, having worked there, they just don't have the time to work collaboratively, and it would be a nice thing if we could do it. I know it's going to be a struggle. I understand that, but
Yeah, it's difficult to free them up on just a random, subs are tough to come by, and the 9-period day definitely helps with the idea of teacher collaboration and time within the day to work.
Yeah, I just think those are great questions, and seeing how many students are not yet proficient at math or English, like the extra class or the MTSS are really, really good, but they're not getting, obviously, to all the students who need help. I was curious, we're halfway through the year. Do you have a sense about how we're progressing, like how this year's results might be different than last year's?
I mean, we've only had one of the iReady benchmarks so far, and to be honest with you, the benchmark is pretty similar to where we were last year. It's tough if you can compare it to where they were at the end of the school year to see how many, but when we go back from this point this year to the same point last year, the numbers are kind of similar in the ballpark. And so we're hoping if we can get our participation rate up for the state test and really emphasize the importance of doing their best on it, that we can start to see some more accurate results there of our entire student body and really get a better sense of where students are.
When is the mid-year iReady?
February.
So we can put together for the board just a really simple summary of like the mid-year results, just so you can see it. Part of the struggle with, this isn't a big deal, but when we're sort of putting these presentations on different dates, like where the presentation lands means like there's different data to be able to share. But I think the board's wanting to look at more data this year, so when we get like the mid-year iReady data, maybe we can put together like just a summary of kind of like trends that we're seeing, some strengths and some challenges, and that could be something that we share with the board just kind of, internally. Because that's something, the math part is something that I know the school's really been trying to focus on with the PD, and we're trying to add this extra layer of tutoring in. Like math is obviously a huge gatekeeper subject for future success in school, and anyway, that's when we're just trying to put a lot of energy on this year.
Projected proficiency rate in it, so it will tell us So when we take the next assessment, we'll be able to see where the kids are in February, or if they need to take this day assessment at that time. So they can kind of recall. So that should be fun.
Just one thing too about the 9-period day. Last year, I'm always trying to sort of think of different ways to do the budget process. And I talked about it a lot, and then we didn't do it, right? We didn't have the funds. So my reflection for this year is I'm not going to talk about it a lot in a board meeting until I feel like we're confident that we can do it. Brian and Eric kind of, pretty well laid out what the issues are. But we have kids kind of at different on different parts of the academic spectrum that are missing out on, either extra support or electives or both sometimes. And so this is just something that we're really working pretty hard to try to figure out for next year. It's one of our top priorities. I also think if we're trying to be more data-based in terms of like budget decisions this year, I think the data out of the middle school, like we're seeing some improvements in some things. We want to see more. I really do think the 9-period day would be a way to do that. And just quickly about the math tutoring thing, I want to be clear, like the math teachers at Roundabout, I saw this professionally, but also as a parent, like they, contractually there's a line in the teacher contract about having a certain amount of time for extra help every week. And the math teachers at Roundabout are extremely dedicated to that and really offer quite a bit of extra help. Running like a tutoring program would just be like kind of one more way to do it. And we'd be able to, if we're able to do the online evening thing, would probably get some kids that maybe can't do it because of a sport or something, or maybe the early morning would get some kids that normally couldn't do it. So anyway, we're just trying to look at different ways to address it. But the 9-period day one is huge, and I'm breaking my vow. I'm talking about it before I'm certain, but like I think the governor's talking soon, right? She's giving her speech soon.
Tomorrow.
So anyway, and I know there's a lot that goes beyond the governor's speech, but it's a high priority for us with that because there's just a lot of things we're not hitting fully with the 8-period day.
Is that it from everybody? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was helpful.
I just want to thank Amanda and Marissa for jumping in and showing some of your work for the presentation. So thank you for that.
Yeah, that was
Thank
great.
you.
I'll thank you later, Brian.
Okay, next up, we are getting a budget update from Matt and Anne Marie.
Emery's gonna do it from there, and I'm just gonna like chime in every once in a while.
Okay.
Instead of me standing next to her and like
That's fair.
lurking the whole time.
Thank you. So we are in the beginning stages of budget season. So these are just a couple of quick highlights just to kind of tell you where we are and things that we've been noticing. So I started out the year trying to do an estimated tax cap calculation. So a couple of variables, I already know what the tax base growth factor is. It's a little bit less than it has been in the past, but still high enough in the county. So it does let our levy grow a bit. Allowable growth factor is 2%. That's kind of a standard now because the CPI is much higher than that, so we can't go more than 2%. So we're estimating the maximum levy increase, which includes another increase in the debt level to kind of pay for the capital project. So we're about 3.63%. So that's an estimate, and I'll talk more about it. I do want to mention one aspect of it. One of the adds and the subtractions have to do with the payment in lieu of taxes, the pilots that we get. I have reached out to the city to ask where Marabou Spa is, because if they come off the tax rolls and they become a pilot, then it affects my calculation a little bit, right? The city told me that they had to have their certificate of occupancy by March 1st. Otherwise, they would stay on the tax rolls the way they are and not go into a pilot situation. Matt and I talk about this all the time because I'm following them on social media and they're taking reservations for the spring. So I'm like, wait a minute, you know. So this may change right before March 1st, and the cap is due March 1st. So I just want to make sure that we maximize the tax cap in the right way. I can grow this to closer to 3.8% if I know Marabou's going to give us the pilot. And the important part of that is that that comes off the tax roll, so you want to be able, that levy would be spread over a different population of things. So that's kind of where we are with that. I just wanted to kind of mention that to you.
If we start receiving the pilot, does that change our revenue amount, our budget planning? Does it change our thinking much? Or is it really just like it affects?
It will increase
levy.
it'll increase the pilot revenue. It's
Okay.
not a lot,
But the first year was pretty low.
Uh-huh.
right? Right.
It was like,
A little over
almost
100, that, yeah.
I don't even think it was that much, but yeah, I could look it up.
So
Okay.
just to,
So you think that maximum levy increase, I know you're not saying that's what it is, that's
gonna
what
be
we're
pretty close to
projecting.
that, yes.
What do you think the variance could possibly be, just out of
it's,
curiosity?
it'll be in the high threes, so 3.89. It's not going to be as high as it
And
was.
last year we were 509?
509, yes. And the tax-based growth factor is slightly different, so that does impact that.
Okay.
And I have an estimate for debt. So as we get closer, I can fine tune it a little bit more. So our health insurance in the district here runs on a calendar year. So we have, when you're trying to do budgeting for a school year, you have half a year at one rate and the other half. So we just got our premiums in January. So our bigger plans increased between 9.5% and 10.5%, which is kind of high. Just so to give you some kind of context, health insurance costs are about 12.7% of the total budget. So it does have an impact on the whole budget. When you're talking about raising the levy 3.6% and you have 10.5% health insurance costs. So that's just something for us to kind of monitor.
What was it last year?
Last year was between 8.5 and 9. So
Okay.
health insurance, and I have another slide talking
Yeah.
a little bit about health insurance, but health insurance is unfortunately a major driver. It's not something that, you know, everybody kind of knows that's going up. TRS and ERS, Teachers Retirement System and Employees Retirement System. So for the employees here that are certificated staff, teachers, administrators, teaching assistants, they're all in the Teachers Retirement System. And Employees Retirement System are all our civil service employees. So the good news, that's why I made it green. Teachers Retirement System percentage is going from 6.59 to 8.75. That's the biggest payroll as well, so it's got the biggest impact. So if I use last year's payroll and I applied the percentage, we'd save about $250,000, which is helpful, like when we're doing the budget. Employees Retirement System, of course, is in the red, so it's going up 16.5 to 17.6. Again, the payroll's not as high. So with that increase, we would lose about maybe 120,000 if you're doing it roughly. So we're still net, we're still in a positive situation. Basically, that just helps us use that money to pay for other things in the budget when we're going forward.
And Marie, sorry, what do those percentages represent?
It's a percentage of payroll that the school district has to pay into the pension plan every year. So if you're taking the employees' retirement system, you take all of the payroll, all the salary that's pensionable. There's some salary that teachers and administrators get that doesn't go into their final average salary. So you would take that total payroll and you multiply it by 8.75%, and that has to be submitted to the state in the retirement system.
And the percentage is determined by someone else?
Yes, outside of, right. The controller's office is the employees' retirement system. Teachers' retirement system is a separate pension fund. They're usually really good about investing, so a lot of times you'll see that their percentages is tied to how well the market is doing. So the market's doing pretty decently, and it's really mainly invested, independently through them.
Thank you.
I wanted to mention Medicare reimbursement to retirees because there's something in the budget. So because we belong to the Empire Plan in the district's required to reimburse our retirees for the full amount of their Medicare Part B premium. So you're a retired employee and you get Social Security, you get your Medicare Part B taking out of your Social Security payment. The retiree then submits to the district for full reimbursement. So years ago, everybody got the same Medicare reimbursement. Now it's based on income. So some people get the minimum, some people get more. The reason I'm mentioning this is because, like health insurance, Medicare is going up as well. So it's just something to kind of keep an eye on for us when we're doing the budgeting piece, but we've seen it systematically go up every year. I did question whether the district was responsible for doing the full premium, and we are, just based on the law and doing that, because I thought that would be a way for us to save money, but we are required to do that. So just some kind of tied to health insurance, just to kind of put it on your radar a little bit. We have 10 teachers, maybe 11, retiring in June of this year. So I wanted to kind of quantify savings. So if we were assuming that all of those teachers we needed to be replaced, roughly we would save about $350,000 in breakage and salary. It should be more. The reason it's not more is because we're losing 2 science teachers at the high school. One teaches physics, one teaches chemistry, and we are losing 2 world language teachers at the middle school. So just to be conservative, I'm not using my usual MA Step 5 to replace them. I'm making that a little bit higher because the market for those teachers is going to be difficult for us to recruit, and we may have to pay them a higher salary. So that's kind of where it is. But we still, with 10 teachers retiring at top step with their longevity, and even a replacement at a higher step, we're still saving about $350,000. Again, helpful in the whole budget process. We're putting it out there. Matt and I are trying not to get really excited about this, but Governor Hochul hopefully will talk more about it tomorrow and maybe be a little bit easier. But as you know, Beacon does a full day program in-house for pre-K, probably one of the few school districts that does that. Some of the general fund has to pay for that universal word that I know she keeps talking about. It doesn't cover the full cost of the program. So for us, it would be fantastic if the funding increased because it would help us offset some of the cost that the general fund is paying for to have the program full day in-house. I know other districts are struggling even providing a universal pre-K or providing it in-house. A lot of them sub it out to community-based organizations, but we don't. And so this is kind of exciting. And so I want to listen to Governor Hochul tomorrow because hopefully she'll say some things that we'll know. So that's just kind of a placeholder. It's just kind of a happy note. We're not getting too excited, but we're hoping that.
I mean, she's been sort of specific. I know there's a lot to happen between now and the final budget, but the current allotment per student for UPK, Universal Pre-K, is $5,400, which, I've been ranting about for years. That number hasn't changed in over a decade, which, obviously doesn't make sense to anyone. But they are pretty clearly saying that it not quite double, but like somewhere it depends on the district, but somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000, I think, per student.
Yes.
It might be phased in over a couple of years, which might make the impact a little bit less dramatic on us, but it would be a huge positive for the budget.
Talking about a per student allotment, not like a lump, because we had also advocated for more of like a lump sum and let us use the money how we,
I think they're sticking to the early speaking is there's sticking to the individual per child thing because obviously I think they're trying to
get more.
use a carrot or whatever to get more kids in it. I mean, the flip of this is we've been doing it, so we won't have an implementation bump or anything, because we've already been doing it. So I think I just got really excited because so often these things happen, and perhaps it will change. We need to do advocacy where districts that aren't doing it get rewarded, right? Like, oh, this district's not doing it, so we're going to give them more money. And so the way they at least are framing it right now, it appears that like districts that are currently making the efforts that we are will get, more funds too. Which, so anyway, this I think has a lot of potential.
Right. This will be very helpful, just because it will open up additional funding in the general fund for us to do the budget. If we could put more to this grant, because it's considered a grant that comes off the state run.
This is just kind of a draft budget calendar because I think we're going to change athletics to February 9th. And so we just wanted to lay out when the different presentations would happen. We may make a couple tweaks and then we'll share it with the community and you all, but it's just kind of laying out. BOCES, one change this year, we're actually having the folks from BOCES come down to present on their budget on the 28th as part of the voting, right? So we haven't had them come in a few years, so they have a new district superintendent and really a whole new team, so I think that'll be good for us to meet them. And then, that's just the board side of it. From March to April, I'm probably going to do like a budget town hall in each of the schools. I may do one or two kind of community ones as well, just to talk about different aspects of the budget and everything we're planning for next year.
Okay. So more to come. This is just the beginning.
This is a very helpful and clear layout of sort of
Just
what's
what
to
we're
come.
worried about.
Yeah, exactly, what we're worried
What
about.
we're worried about, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next up, we are going to hear from our student representatives. Nadine, do you want to start?
Sure. I don't really have anything to say, except that I hope you all had a great winter break.
Oh, thanks. That's very kind of you. I hope you did as well.
That the Mr. Soltish and staff from RMS, the presentation was really informative and interesting. I enjoyed it.
Nice. All right. Moving on to superintendent's report. Matt?
Just one thing we wanted to share tonight is, after a long process, our 2 electric buses have been on the road for all of 2026. And which hasn't been a long time, but this was something that we've been working on for a few years. A lot of different people have been involved with it. Want to give a huge thanks to the transportation department. Obviously, they have been the main folks, but then also a lot of people behind the scenes too. But it's been going really well, and we want to do something. We'll probably do something next week for social media or my updates or my updates. But we wanted to figure out a time, or maybe a couple of times, where maybe like a half an hour prior to a board meeting or something like that, we can do a little quick drive with the board on one of the EV buses to experience it. We're hearing positives from the drivers, like the drivers are really enjoying. We have some of our drivers went through some special training to do it, and they're enjoying driving them. So, it's like something that the public voted on like quite a while ago, and it takes a process to do this. Just one note about transportation. At the next board meeting, we want to get into what's on the transportation proposition on the ballot, just to maybe foreshadow or forewarn, depending on how you view it. We do just have the capacity for 2 electric buses right now. Like, that's what we have the charging capacity for. To increase that, we'd have to go out and do some sort of small capital project to add to the bus garage and the infrastructure there. So we will be talking about, at that, we don't have all the details yet, but we'll be talking about some gas buses. But that said, I think the positive experience so far with the e-buses means we'll also be figuring out ways to increase that over the years too. So, and then lastly, did we land on January 22nd for the
Yes,
retreat?
I was gonna mention that in
Okay,
my
so just,
comments.
Anne Marie and I are gonna share probably like Thursday of this week, just a tentative, here's all the information we're pulling together for you all, and then, I'll text you when I send that email out, just to remind you, and if there's other things you wanna see, then we'll have like a week and a half to pull that together too. So I just wanted to share that.
7 to 9. Is that adequate time, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I could get like dinner ahead of time and.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Is that it? Thank
Yeah, that's
you
it.
so much. All right, we will move on to board comments and committee reports, of which there are probably no committee reports. Catherine, you want to start?
Sure. Bus ride, fun. We're behind that idea. Pretty exciting. I want to share my gratitude for the middle school presentation. Extraordinary amount of detail and information. Really psyched to hear all about that. And also the budget. Ooh, this is going to be fun. I can't wait to ask a million questions. And Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New
That's it from me.
Year. All right, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, not much. Thanks for the presentation. I did, as a former math teacher, especially appreciate the video. Know that it takes a lot of time to put together. And I think the more we can hear about like instruction and like how are we achieving, I know I asked about the results and how are we doing, but I think getting a peek into what the classrooms actually look like was really great. So thanks to the teacher who put that together, and thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, that was great. Lavon?
Again, just thank you for the presentation. It was very informative.
Eric?
Do we have facilities or?
Yeah, 5:30.
When is it?
Are you able, before the next board meeting? 5:30? Would that work?
5:30 on the
We can-
26th?
We can order a pizza or something. Would that work?
Well, I wanted to say, I think that, so Catherine had brought up that she remembers being added to the committee, but
Okay.
then she's not listed on there.
Okay.
So you would that work for you, Catherine?
that's
Okay,
fine.
that's fine by me too.
Great.
So what we want to do at that meeting, and actually we wanted to, if we can do this, we wanted to, it's not required, but we wanted to open it up to members of the finance committee too,
Oh, right.
because there's a financial aspect. Help me out with this a little bit, jog my.
It has to do with filing the final cost reports and talking about, working with our contractors and maybe having some of our building aid be deferred for later on and how we were gonna make up the difference.
Yeah, so it's kind of complex. It doesn't really impact our own like budget process, but I just think it's something that would be good to understand. So it's not like everyone has to be there, and we can then talk about it in the board meeting itself. But we wanted to open that one up to if like a finance committee member wanted to come to hear that part. The other part of the meeting will be just the team really just laying out. We have quite a timeline ahead of us. We have a lot of work starting this summer at all of our buildings again. We swore we weren't going to do that. We are doing entryways at all the buildings. That's not quite as big as all the other stuff we were doing last summer. We have a lot starting this summer. We have a lot with the air conditioning getting kicked off this summer, and the team was going to roll through all of that. So we have a lot going on. So I'll just, again, like it's not, required for the finance committee. It just felt like it'd be good for those members to hear that too, if they
Yeah.
were free. And then at the board meeting itself on the 26th, we can get into that a little bit too.
So that's good. So 5:30 on the
26,
on the 26th, great.
that works.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks to the assistant principals. I think science fair is awesome. Glad you're taking that over. Amanda, thanks for doing those meetings before school. They're a vital part. Appreciate it. I just want to mention, I did go to the Hall of Fame, Athletic Hall of Fame on Friday night at St. Rocco's. It was a really great evening. There were about 7 people inducted, 1 team, really put together well. Mike did a great job running the whole thing, and it was really nice to see. It was a lot, I think there was almost 80 people there, so it was a nice gathering of the community, and it was really, Eric Romanino was the MC, so it was really nice to see that as well. So that's it for me.
All right, thank you. Meredith?
Yeah, thank you for that presentation. It was awesome. And I did also really, I always loved having a window into the classroom, and it was great watching the body language of the students kind of perk up as they became more engaged, and you can see how that technique really works. I was also really excited about the STEAM fair. I put it in my calendar. 2 things. I'm having some trouble with my computer. I don't know if it's the internet or my computer, but I'm going to pass that letter of support for the climate curriculum onto the larger board. I think we can just approve it over email if people are up for that. And then we really could use a policy meeting. Catherine and Levon, is that you guys? I wonder if the, let me see, okay, we have the retreat next week, so, and we have a board meeting the week after that. So I don't know if either the 21st or the 28th would work for you guys.
Either one's fine.
Either one's good
Yeah,
for me, too.
Same.
Do you have a preference? Maybe we should make the 28th so we can prepare the policies.
Yeah, 28th. Okay.
28th. And should we try to have a prawl meeting?
I think so, because we should probably start talking about our newsletter,
Yeah,
and then,
that's Catherine and Semra.
yeah,
So let's ask Semra if she could make that night also.
okay.
Let's make, yeah, prawl second, because I think Semra maybe, it's better for her to do later if she can make it.
Yeah. Wait, what day?
Okay.
is
The
this?
28th.
28th, yeah.
Okay, so the budget should be out by then. So
Yeah.
if we need to
Yeah,
do
so
some
we can have-
advocacy, we'll know.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's all for me.
All right. Sorry, I'm just making a note here. I also wanted to echo the thank you for the presentation. I have a son in Rombau, and I feel like every year things are getting better and more engaging, and I think he's having an even better experience than my first son had. I love the Positivity Project. I love how it makes kids think about like their social emotional like experience in a way that's more in a way that is just really engaging. It's not being done to them. They're really thinking through it, and I think it's great. I love the idea of the STEAM fair. I'm going to deeply pressure my son to participate. And I also like to see all of the academic supports and the way that you're really thinking about this in terms of like what level of attention and care students need. So thank you so much for making it such a great place for my kids to be. And everyone's kids, of course. I wanted to mention the retreat, but it sounds like we've got that squared away. And then I had a random question. So now that the food pyramid has changed, apparently that's supposed to change guidance for school meals. Is that right? Like, do we have any sense of how that's going to change what we have to do with school lunches?
Not yet.
Not yet. how does that work? Does it like trickle down? Do they like say you guys have to all do this now, or like,
I mean, I think it's quite a process to go from some press conference to then like what schools buy with FDA guidelines. So I wouldn't see like a change to what we're doing for probably quite some time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into
They
meal
just changed the
planning for
graphic.
schools.
Now it's
So like, so from my understanding, they had like a press conference, right? Or like they announced it. Like there's a lot that needs to then happen.
okay, that's
Yeah.
good to know because
Yeah. We didn't start and I'm not saying, I don't know much about it, this particular thing. I've been probably focused on other things in the news, but I don't think it has like an immediate impact on us.
Okay, that's good
Yeah,
to know.
I think it sounds like it would probably be like the kinds of milk we have offered and like, I mean, there's a lot of math, with this meal planning, and it's like the percentages of what we use and what we don't use and that kind of stuff. And I think that will take a little bit of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, that's all I had for tonight. Moving on to the consent agenda. The use of the consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Any member of the board who wishes to discuss individually a particular piece of business on the consent agenda may so indicate, and that item will be considered and voted on separately, thus preserving the right of all board members to be heard on any issue. Are there any items that any board members would like to have removed from the consent agenda? No, hearing none. Can I have a motion to approve 12.01 through 16.04?
I actually have a question, sorry.
That's okay.
On the 1202, the calendar, in the action, it says February 18th, but in the actual calendar, I believe it says the 19th. So I just wanted to clarify, what are we doing? Is it the?
Oh, for the meeting?
For the meeting.
I think it's supposed to be the 19th.
Cool.
Good catch.
Sorry.
Thank you all for switching that.
Yeah, of course. So just to be technically correct, do I need to make a motion to amend it, or?
Yeah, the calendar itself is correct.
Okay, then if we acknowledge it's all, it was
I only
supposed
have
to
a
be the
stake in it because it's my birthday.
Which one?
The 18th.
Oh, I'm the 19th.
Are you really? Oh, that's crazy.
Thumb
See,
war over it.
we'll bring cupcakes either way. Okay.
Gluten-free.
Thank you. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve 12.01 through 16.04?
So moved.
Levon, second.
Second.
Meredith, second. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Pass 7-0. Good night.
Wait.
Wait, what did I do? Oh, gosh, I am rusty.
Oh, we're only 6 people.
6-0. Okay. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second.
Second.
Second by Chris. Comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 6-0. Now, good night.
Good night.
So Matt, what's the date of the meeting?
Doing your birthday.